Ink Ribbon.
Resident Evil 6 provided us with a lot. Possibly too much. I want to return to this game and do a whole video on it, but until then, I thought we'd take a closer look at one of the new characters introduced. I like to skip just right to it so that I don't waste your time and I don't have anything clever to write here, so without further ado, from Street Fighter moves to piano prodigy, here are 25 facts about Jake Muller. Jake Muller is the biological son of Albert Wesker. The reason he doesn't have the same last name is because not only was Wesker not even aware that he had fathered a child, but due to his dangerous background, his mother decided to give him her surname instead. Jake was born in Edonia, which is a fictional European country that is in the middle of a conflict. Jake had a pretty rough childhood. He never met his father, who was privately thought of as a deadbeat, and his mother was chronically ill. The saddest part is she could have made a recovery if they had some extra money, but they barely had enough to eat. His history as a mercenary is a complex one. He was unskilled when he initially joined the Edonian Liberation Army, but was quickly trained and hardened into a soldier by a trainer who he looked up to as a father figure. Until he found out that this trainer sold out his unit and had them all killed, with Jake and only one other member surviving. This directly resulted in Jake being deeply untrusting of people and becoming a mercenary who works alone. It's also worth mentioning he went through all of this when he was only 17 years old. Shortly after becoming a mercenary and starting to save money to help save his mother, she passed away from her illness. She left Jake a note saying goodbye and telling him not to hate his father and they would find each other someday. By 2012, Jake had returned to Edonia and was helping the Liberation Army once more. He was also being monitored by the government and by Derek Simmons, who was attempting to capture Jake to use him as a test subject. At the beginning of his scenario, you see him inject himself with something. This was given to him and his unit by Carla Radams, who told them all it was a nutrition supplement. It was not. Jake's antibodies were able to fight it off and make him immune to the C virus, while the others mutated into Juavo. Jake ends up partnering with Sherry Birkin throughout his campaign. This is worth mentioning because they are both children of Wesker and William, who were both heavily involved in Umbrella's initial research and both ended up being victims of viruses, though in very different ways. Sherry's mission was to secure Jake and get him into the hands of the government because of the simple fact that his blood contained the cure to the C virus, which would essentially save the world from catastrophic levels of infection. He was the only human in the entire world with these antibodies due to his blood being derived from Wesker. Jake is pretty amazing on the piano. There's a small Easter egg where both Sherry and Jake can play the piano in China. Here's what Sherry plays. And here's what Jake plays. The song that Jake plays is a variation of Nocturne 9 by Chopin. One of the most unique things about Jake gameplay-wise is his hand-to-hand combat ability, where he's able to perform melee combos and, while in the ready state, doesn't even really use stamina. Some of the combo moves that Jake performs are actually inherited from Wesker, including the Tiger Uppercut and Palm Strike as seen in the Marvel vs. Capcom games and Resident Evil 5. Tiger Uppercut is also a hand-me-down Easter egg reference to Street Fighter being one of Sagat's moves. Jake Muller is voiced by Troy Baker, who you may know from literally every game or anime you could think of. Jake is 6'3", making him the tallest character of all of the main protagonists in Resident Evil 6. He may also be the tallest human character in the entire franchise. I couldn't find any other character over 6'1", but I may be wrong, so don't attack me if I am. Jake was apparently a difficult character to design, especially since him being Wesker's son was supposed to be a plot twist. In Jake's original design, he had short blonde hair and even sunglasses, but the team just wasn't happy with his design until the decision for him to have a shaved head came to be, with his hair also being changed to red. The main idea for Jake's design was to make him look like a runway model, which is partly why he is so tall. He also had longer blonde hair at one point and wanted to blend European fashion with military aesthetics. The deluxe version of Umbrella Corps included Jake as a skin for your character. The tune that Jake whistles at the beginning of the game is a variation of Alexia's Lullaby from Code Veronica.
Who is that?
The king was loved, but the queen was feared.
Chris ends up revealing that not only did he know Wesker, but he was the one that killed him, which enrages Jake, only for Chris to stand his ground and remind Jake that he needs to survive no matter what. While it's possible that Sherry may have met Wesker at some point, Chris is the only person Jake meets who actually really knew Wesker.
I can see your father in you.
How did you know?
Wait, hold on a second. So you knew him?
Yeah, I did. But I'm the one that killed him.
When riding the elevator near the end of the campaign, Jake can ride with Sherry, Piers, or Chris, with each one of them providing a different conversation.
Just so we're clear, you and I are not done talking yet. You got a lot of explaining to do.
We may get out of here alive, and I'll tell you whatever you want. I just hope you're ready to hear it.
Jake has two unlockable outfits in Resident Evil 6. The first is his mercenary's outfit, which is a gangster-type look with a puffy jacket, sunglasses, and a chain. And there's also a low-poly retro costume. It's worth mentioning only the Switch version of Resident Evil 6 allows you to use the extra costumes in the story mode. As with most characters in 6, Jake has some interesting unused costume designs, including one as an anthropomorphic cat, and one holding a photo of Wesker. Jake has a small secret ending that you can only see once beating the game with all characters and getting the full story.
I believe we had a deal.
When Jake starts the game, he is all business and demands millions of dollars for the use of his blood.
We need you, Jake. We need your blood.
$50 million.
What?
Cash. Non-negotiable.
Over the course of the game, we see him grow and change thanks largely to Sherry, and by the end we see him accepting an apple as a form of payment from a child, showing us that he is still a mercenary, but his priorities have changed drastically. After their ordeal, Jake gives a sample of his blood to Sherry, which is used to synthesize a vaccine for the C virus and gradually contain the outbreak, essentially saving the world. And he did it all for $50. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you learned something new, then please perform a tiger uppercut on that like button. If there's a character or game you'd like to see a facts video on, then please leave it down in the comments, and it might be in a future video. Have a great day, and until next time, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Your extra support means the world to me and helps me keep making content for you guys.